Ben, starting with you, were you surprised that Donnie Allison got in over the others on the Pioneers ballot? And Casey says, if it's Wednesday night, it's grid tonight. It really is.
Yes, well, first of all, my apologies if the audio quality is a little bit lower than usual. I didn't bring my microphone to my office today because I didn't think I was going to need it, but based on the voting results, I've got some things to say, and then we'll start with Donnie Allison here. First of all due respect to Donnie Allison, he had a heck of a career in NASCAR, and as far as I'm concerned, 10 Cup Series wins is certainly better than the vast majority of anybody who's ever set foot in a Cup car can say they've done, so props to him on that. And, like you said, Josh, obviously a beloved member of the Alabama gang, and had a major role in putting NASCAR on the map through his role in the 1979 Daytona 500 finish. But if we look at these stats here, 10 Cup Series wins, never finished higher than 16th in points. I know he never really ran a full season, but I just don't know if that's Hall of Fame material. Certainly not ahead of the likes of those other names on the Pioneer ballot, like you mentioned, Banjo Matthews, Ralph Moody, legendary car owners and car builders, Banjo Matthews himself having a short driving career. AJ Foyt, I know we talked about him on this show and on the Grid Live Encore show before, with only 7 Cup wins. Is he necessarily a NASCAR Hall of Famer? Obviously, any motorsports Hall of Fame at large, you'd put AJ Foyt in, similar to Jimmy Johnson. You don't even need a ballot. He's an obvious choice. But strictly from a NASCAR perspective, does he have the resume? I think there's an argument to be made that, he certainly has the name recognition to go with it, maybe more so than Allison even. But, I know Kobe mentioned this in our chat as well, potentially Donnie Allison being a living member of the Pioneer ballot, maybe that played a role in, wanting to see him go in while he was still with us and give his own speech. AJ Foyt's 5 years older than Donnie Allison, though, so, maybe that argument doesn't hold as much merit there. But, I just think that Donnie's very borderline, when you look at his stats individually, and again, based on who else was on the ballot, and Sam Ard in particular, as I mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago, I think Sam Ard would have been my pick if I had been given a ballot, because I think we need a little bit more representation from some of the other divisions in NASCAR beyond just the Cup Series. And if you look at what Sam Ard did in the first 2 years of what we now know as the Xfinity Series, and that history alone, I think Sam Ard is deserving to go in as one of the pioneers of this sport. In that respect, it's unfortunate that Sam's no longer with us, but that doesn't change the fact that I think he was the most deserving and would have been my pick on this ballot. So congratulations to Donnie Allison. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever, but I think a little bit of a surprise based on who he had to beat out to get in on this ballot. And I do want to mention just one more point of irony, and then we'll bring Matt in here as well. And actually, if we could bring Josh and Matt here on the screen, because I want to get your reactions to this as well. Donnie Allison, as I mentioned, very well known for his role in the fight with Cale Yarborough in the 1979 Daytona 500. He crashed from the last lap, ended up finishing in 4th place. Do you know who finished in 3rd place in that race, one spot ahead of Donnie Allison? AJ Foyt.
Well,
I was just thinking it was Foyt, wasn't it? Who finished ahead?
Well, I mean, congratulations to Donnie. I mean, that call, and there's a fight. That call needs to go into the Hall of Fame because it was just superb. I agreed with you, Ben, when the list came out, didn't we? I think we had the three the same. Jimmy, Chad, and Sam were both R3. So a little bit disappointing today that we only got two of the three bang on. But yeah, good to say. Nothing against Donnie. He's a multi-time winner, and yeah, a bit before my time, obviously, but yeah, good to see the list out, and we'll talk about the other two nominees who I can talk about with much more knowledge than Donnie Allison.
And Matt, just to bounce off of that real quick, I right before the voting results were announced, I put in our chat my picks, and I was the same as you. I had Jimmy and Chad. Obviously, I think most people did. Clearly, a few didn't, and we'll get into that here in just a moment. But I had Sam Ard, and I had Janet Guthrie for a landmark award as well, and congratulations to her, very well deserved on that. I would have no problem with Donnie Allison getting the landmark award. I think the landmark award is usually reserved for somebody who still played a significant role in the history of the sport and has significant contributions to it, but maybe their resume isn't strong enough to go up against everybody who's on the Hall of Fame ballot. Just generally speaking, going in as a Hall of Famer. If you want to give Donnie Allison the landmark award for being a part of the Alabama gang and having a role in the finish that really put NASCAR on the national map, then I think that's great. Just the question, is he a Hall of Famer, and does he deserve that's number one. Number two is, does he deserve to go in ahead of everybody else on that ballot? That's where I'm scratching my head. just a little bit. I'm not saying he's absolutely not a Hall of Famer. I'm just saying I think there were others on that ballot that had a little bit stronger resumes, and I would have liked to have seen them go in instead. But nonetheless, congratulations to Donnie Allison. I don't want to disrespect him at all in that regard. That's just my opinion.